Requirement B. We need to write a memorandum to Mrs. Woody Goldberg in which you communicate to her the parties that you have identified as related parties to Queen Lioness Limited. For each party identified, provide a reason from the definition of a related party as per IS 24. Guys, they actually tell you that you can open IS 24, and this is paragraph 9, and identify what is the definition of a related party. Therefore, you need to indicate per entity or per person, and you need to identify, is this a related party, yes or no? If yes, you need to provide a reason why you indicate this. Therefore, very important. Right, now the indicator asks that we need to include a memorandum. Therefore, my first step, as always, on a new page, remember, start each section of a question on a new page. Indicate memorandum to Mrs. Whoopi Goldberg from student, date, guys, put in the date that you write your exam, subject, dear Mrs. In relation to, please refer to Appendix A. Regards, and Appendix A. Now you know that you already most probably have your format mark. If you have included this, you have to include the to, the from, the date, the subject, a dear, and a regards. Always, always. Right. Now, you need to open the scenario. Quite a lot of details. What I want you to do is I want you to please have your scenario open with me and read through this. Please, guys, again, you have to have your scenario open and read with me to be able to understand this very busy structure. Right, we have Queen Lioness in the middle of our, or in the center of our screen. The second paragraph, the CFO of Queen Lioness, Woody Goldberg. Remember, Woody approached us. This is the CEO or CFO, right? Third paragraph. Queen Lioness is jointly controlled by Mr. R. Busney and RB Limited, therefore jointly controlled by an entity and by a person. Mrs. E. Busney, which is the wife of Mr. R. Busney, look at this, guys, has a 25% interest in Zenzi Limited, therefore significant influence. Fourth paragraph. RB Limited, Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and majority shareholder, very important, CEO and majority shareholder is Mr. Moyo. Now, Mr. Moyo is also a non-executive director of Sarabi Limited. Next paragraph. Mr. R. Busney. Where's R. Busney? Okay, this is R. Busney. The indicator as is an executive board member of Kamari Limited, like calamari, but Kamari Limited. And his brother at the top, Mr. B. Busney, is the CEO of Azizi. Queen Lioness has a 35% interest in Kamari. Therefore, look at Queen Lioness, a 35% interest in Kamari, and they indicate as significant influence, we will assume in terms of IS 28. Mrs. Whoopi Goldberg's son, Droopy Goldberg, on the left side of your screen. Droopy Goldberg is the director and 65% shareholder of Computers Limited. Now remember that this is Mrs. Goldberg's son. And they indicate to us that Queen Lioness purchased quite a lot of goods from Computers Limited. And the last sentence, all the employees of Azizi on the right side of your screen and Sarabi on the left side of your screen is members of the Poly Pension Fund. Now, we need to focus purely on Queen Lioness. Therefore, what you now need to do, you need to open IS 24 paragraph 9. you will identify on the right side of your screen that I've included our definition as per IS 24 paragraph 9. Remember, we need to identify if the entities is related parties to Queen Lioness. Now guys, important, this is theory question. You will have to write out everything. I am going to work through this and you do have the solution in front of you. Now, when you look at this, first, let's talk about Mr. R. Basney. Remember, this is now Mr. R. Basney jointly controls Lioness. Therefore, yes, this is a related party. Why? Because when you refer to paragraph 9A1, remember, it indicates to us that a person or a close member of that person's family is related to the reporting entity if that person, which is Mr. R. Basney, has control or joint control over the reporting entity. In this scenario, our reporting entity will be Queen Lioness. Right, therefore we know Mr. R. Basney is a related party. Now, what about Mrs. E. Basney? Mrs. E. Basney is a close family member of a person who jointly controls Queen Lioness. Therefore, yes, this is a related party. Why? Because you can refer to paragraph 9A1 again. Next, Zenzi Limited. Is this a related party? Please refer to the definition 9B7. Right, it indicates, you guys, a person identified in A1 has significant influence over the entity or is a member of key management personnel of the entity. Now, we have identified in A1 that Mrs. E. Basney is a related party. Therefore, guys, yes, we can indicate that Zenzi is a related party. Now, what about Mr. R. Basney? Yes, because R. Basney is a related party because this is family member of Mr. B. Basney. Yes, because it's family member of Mr. R. Basney. And then what about Azizi? Mr. B. Basney is the CEO, therefore key management personnel, and similar as per Zenzi. In terms of 9B7, this is a related party. Therefore, yes, this is a related party. What about RB Limited? Yes, guys, in terms of paragraph 9A1, this is a related party. Therefore, yes, this is a related party. Mrs. Whoopi Goldberg? Yes, because key management personnel. Therefore, yes, a related party. What about Mr. Droopy Goldberg? Is Droopy Goldberg a related party? Droopy Goldberg is a close family member, as this is the son of Mrs. Whoopi Goldberg. And this is then a director and 65% shareholder of Computers Limited. But when we look at Droopy Goldberg on its own, yes, this is a related party. When we look at Computers Limited, yes, this is a related party. Why? Because they are connected via Mrs. Whoopi, Droopy, and then Computers. Because Droopy has control over Computers, and Droopy Goldberg is key management personnel, and Mrs. Whoopi is the mother of Droopy. Okay, so what about Kamari Limited, guys? Kamari Limited, yes, because Queen Lioness has 35% significant influence over Kamari Limited. And then Safarina Limited, yes, because, guys, they are within the same group. They're within the same group, or you can indicate due to the fact that Queen Lioness has 35% in Kamari, which is an associate, and the associate controls Safarina. Yes, they are related parties. Right, guys, quite a mouthful. My recommendation, when you attempt this section, work through each individual or entity on its own. similar to what we have done just now. You need to focus on Queen Lioness. Therefore, first look at Mr. R. Basney. Then move on to Mrs. E. Basney. Move on to Zenzi Limited. Move on to Mr. B. Basney, Azizi. Then look at the left side, RB Limited, which will now be our number 7. Mr. Moyo, number 8. Sarabi, number 9. Work through all of this in sequence. Mrs. Whoopi Goldberg, number 10. Number 11, Droopy. Number 12, Computers. Kamari, number 13. And Safarina, number 14. Guys, remember that your standard should work for you, not against you. Therefore, ensure that your definitions, your important sections are properly highlighted and underlined.